Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have realised I'm not Sharon Constanson, your usual host for these events. Sharon has been summoned to the Old Bailey. Nothing serious, she's there for dinner. But we do have a video from her welcoming you and telling you a little more about what this evening's event is about.
Good evening and welcome to all our participants from Ireland, the Emerald Isle, and to those from the UK, South Africa, the rest of the globe who are attending with us tonight. I'm Sharon Constanson. I'm Chairman of the South African Chamber of Commerce in the UK and welcome you to our inaugural launch of a geographic chapter. This is a corporate member of the South African Chamber in the UK, and Ireland is our first. There are a number following later behind them. John Mulder, who is the leader of this chapter, recently located from Ireland, from South Africa, and will share with you his journey of how he got to tonight with his band of merry South Africans who've come together for mutual benefit. This event was planned to be a hybrid event, our second one, but unfortunately due to the third wave and restrictions in Ireland, they've been unable to meet in person, unfortunately, so have joined the rest of us in a virtual event, totally in all cases. The strategy this year of the Chamber has been to grow membership, and this chapter is the first of a new focal area of growth for the Chamber, which allows us to internationalise, regionalise, and reach a much greater network of value, which the new virtual world has given us an opportunity we didn't have before. Hot on Ireland's heels are Jersey, Isle of Man, KwaZulu-Natal, and Gauteng. We have a couple of others that are considering it, and we challenge all of you in various parts of the globe, the UK or South Africa, see if there's a chapter locally where you'd like to get 10 plus, 15 plus, 20 plus people together in a localized group and form a geographic chapter. Please make contact with us. It is a very exciting opportunity and actually makes such personal relevance to everyone who is engaged. I'm sorry not to be with you tonight, but as you are listening, I'll be arriving at the Old Bailey, fortunately not to stay for the night, and I'm going to be hosted for a very small group dinner with the Aldermanic Sheriff of the City of London. Michael Magnani has been very supportive to the Chamber and has hosted a number of key events for us from the Old Bailey and also from Mansion House. And they've been very supportive in actually integrating the Chamber and our membership into the City of London. This will be my second dinner out in 18 months. I feel like I'm eloping. Tonight will feature an excellent insight into the issues of Brexit, trade with South Africa, trade with Ireland, and trade between the UK and the respective countries. The Brexit environment has brought a brand new set of challenges for all of us, and each company is impacted in such a different and such a unique way. Marc and Gabrielle and Andy really do know their stuff. I've listened to them a couple of times, and I really value the insights they have brought to people that I know already. And we'll be taking questions from yourselves, and we'll be featuring some of the very specific challenges that Ireland, South Africa, and the UK are facing due to Brexit. So I would like to at this point introduce you to John Mulder, a wonderful man who enjoys to engage with people, who enjoys to have conversations, who enjoys to have the normal way of having a chat with people, which is so enlightening in today's day and age where we're all doing everything so digitally. John will share his passion and the purpose of their group. The team will introduce themselves, and a few will share some very specific Brexit stories, which we picked up by VAT IT in more detail. So please enjoy your evening, have fun, and thank you so much for celebrating with us the first opportunity to have a regional geographic chapter corporate member of the Chamber. Good night and enjoy your evening. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Sharon, for your message. That's very well received. On behalf of the regional committee and the members, it's really my immense privilege to invite everybody to this inaugural event of the South African Chamber of Commerce, the Emerald Isle. This chapter covers Northern Ireland as well as the Republic of Ireland. And it really stands to reason that we're a collective of a bunch of South Africans living in this region that are basically looking to positively impact communities we live in, the homes we left behind, and the future of our countrymen and women in every corner of the globe. I'd like to start by thanking the following people for getting us to this point this evening. Sharon, June, Hazel, Stuart, and the rest of the chamber team. Thank you so much for putting this together. Very importantly, and most importantly, every single member of this newly formed chapter and the committee who had basically saw the vision and let's call it the possibilities that this alliance brings, which is very, very important. And last but not least, Anthony and Kylie, who've been behind the scenes, given poor old Stuart a couple of grey hairs today, but have worked tirelessly to ensure that this actually comes together, because I can tell you now, without this, without the two of them, this would not happen. So Anthony and Kylie, thank you very much. There's basically no point in turning this into a long speech. I don't believe in long speeches. I believe in getting to the point, and I just want to highlight the following. There is a large contingent of South Africans already who have, over the years, over decades, already established themselves as leaders in their fields and added tremendous value to the whole Irish economy. They've developed businesses, they've built brands, they've created employment, and ultimately have done what South Africans do, and that's get on with it and make us all proud. And really, in honouring that effort and supporting future efforts, it's really our intent, and it comes right from the very beginning when I first met Louis and Francois and the original founding committee, which was then the SA Buzz. Really, the mission for us is very straightforward, and as a chapter is very straightforward. And I'm going to break it down into 3 points without labouring it. Number one is to focus and enhance trade between our new homeland, some have been here a lot longer than others, South Africa and the rest of the African continent. Two, to assist our own members and members of the other chapters to develop their businesses and networks within this environment, and that's extremely key. It's very easy to attend a webinar and attend the odd networking session, but it takes time and effort to actually get to know people, and certainly it'll be a mission of ours to do that, and we'll make every effort to drive that home. And last but not least, obviously we have a formal requirement, and that's to engage the local chambers within Ireland, Northern Ireland, local government, national government, where possible, with a view to achieving the above objectives. And that goes without saying. At the end of the day, if we're going to take a lead and we're going to make the effort to represent the chamber within this region, it lies to us to make an effort to engage the relevant people and to make sure that we can add value to our members and to support trade for South Africans into Ireland, into the UK, and into Europe. That's me, short and sweet. I think our points are clear. I know I have the full support of the members that are attending, and I once again want to thank the guests who are here for joining us. It's a very important evening for us. We certainly hope to get to a more live scenario quite soon. But certainly this is a good kickoff, and quite frankly, as I keep hearing, these type of virtual get-togethers have certainly allowed us to get to more people than we would have in the past. So we take the positives with the negatives. Thank you all for your time, and we certainly look forward to engaging each and every one of you going forward. Please feel free to leave your details in the chat, because we'd love to chat you further and engage you, and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that introduction, John. We have another video now introducing some of the members from Ireland.
established for 8 years. First of all, I'm a flexible accountant to adjust seamlessly to constantly evolving accounting processes and technologies. I'm a finance professional with extensive full cycle accounting experiences. I also do annual reports. I also do business registration. We do online business solutions and we do tax services. We do software bookkeeping and training, onboarding, payroll. We do online accounting software, and I'm a specialist price consultant. We specialize actually in a little bit of the online technology. We are there to help the people. Our motto is to say minimum effort, maximum satisfaction. So let's save you some money, let's save you some time.
What if I told you that you could get your hands on a brand new sports car for the price of a second-hand sedan? A business class ticket at economy cost? Or a leisurely week away for the price of a one-night stay? Well, Michael Kelly Productions offers your organisation just that, metaphorically speaking, of course, with the launch of our fresh, professional and foolproof video marketing package at never-before-seen prices. Michael Kelly Productions' video package has been designed to catapult your return on investment, skyrocket your brand awareness and position you as a thought leader in your field and exponentially magnify your overall impact while squashing costs. Contact us for more information regarding our fresh, professional and foolproof video marketing package today.
Hello everyone, it's Brian McDonald here of Unihaven. We're an international education company. When I was in school, my biology teacher said to me, use a diagram to explain your point, and don't worry, it's not an art exam. So, here goes. What do? Very simply put, we enroll students, non-EU students, international students. We help them to get to university with some excellent university partners. We ultimately help them to have great careers, whether they want to have careers over in this part of the world or when they go back to their own country. How do we do that? We teach very good, high quality pathway programs across a number of subject streams. Check out our website, unihaven.ie, to find out more.
Speaking to an audience is often daunting. Imagine having the confidence to speak up and stand out. That's what I do. Let me help you. Brian Barry, I help you gain the confidence to speak up and stand out. I also facilitate training courses on topics such as leadership, management, commercial awareness, sales, and presentations coaching. Get in touch with me on social media, my website, or brian@brianbarry.ie via email.
Arcology System is a patent-pending, modular, flexible interior construction system for large commercial projects. We bring in best-in-class fit-out components to create fully flexible interior spaces with plug-and-play electrics. We are delighted to have international partners on board, joining us in disrupting what is a $117 billion US market. Arcology System streamlines the entire fit-out process with a single point of contact, dry construction system, which also allows for space as a service. Let's face it, shift happens, and now is the time to change.
Hi everyone, my name is Francois van Heeren from VAT IT Accountants and Business Advisors. We provide financial success support to SMEs in Ireland. How do we do that? Combining 25 years of experience in practice and industry with the latest cloud accounting apps and software, giving SMEs real-time insight into their finances. Dinosaurs are extinct. If you do not adapt, you will become extinct. You cannot work with an accountant who is a dinosaur, who will not adapt and take on new technology. You in a business, as a business owner, needs to know exactly what's going on your finances by the click of a button. So do not work with a dinosaur accountant. Work with me, Francois from FHC, your silver lining. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Byrne from Uncle Bok Biltong and Boerewors. We are the oldest established biltong and boerewors manufacturer currently in Ireland. We operate from a full health and safety approved facility in County Longford, since 2013. We also have a full e-commerce website that we supply directly to the consumer by post and by private deliveries. We also supply a number of shops right throughout the country from coast to coast. Our aim would be to have at least 1 or 2 shops in every single county in Ireland, which would be our goal to achieve. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, my name is Leon from Firebox. We're an Irish company consisting of 3 South African directors and partners, myself, CJ Stander and Darren Claassen. We're new to market in that we only launched in January 2021 and we supply high-end quality prize barbecue units to the Irish, UK and EU market. We're looking to discuss possible opportunities with any landscapers, 3D designers, project managers, builders, landscapers, etc. Who wish to possibly install or use some of our units for their new developments, upgrades, home renovations, man caves, outdoor garden kitchens, etc. etc. We can be inside or outside inside. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it and all the best.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Leon Kruger from Kruger Lyons Architects. As a dynamic professional architectural firm, we have a passion for modern, sustainable, contemporary design. We bring over 55 years of experience to deliver inspired spaces for owners and end users to merge the elements of design, purpose, and budget for the purpose of our clients. Our attention to detail, personal service, and ability to deliver results to our clients sets us apart and keeps them coming back. If you are looking to redevelop, develop or refurbish a property, we certainly would like to talk to you. We do multi-unit residential developments, commercial developments, new and refurbish, from inception, feasibility, design, tender, construction, all the way to completion. Thank you.
It's Robin here from Puncture Safe Ireland, the world's leading tyre sealant company. One of the biggest problems on Irish roads at the moment is that 80% of cars don't actually come with a spare tyre, but to prevent any sort of puncture happening, you're going to have to get in touch with Puncture Safe. Puncture Safe is a preventative method, so it prevents a puncture from happening in the first place. So we have many benefits. One is that it saves on fuel consumption. You will extend the life of your tyre of 25%, and also you'll never have to worry about a puncture again. It's extremely important to stay safe on the roads, and with Puncture Safe you'll never have to worry about pulling over to the side of the road and being stuck in danger with your family. If you want to stay safe on the roads and never have to worry about a puncture again, get in touch with Puncture Safe.
Thank you, Anthony, for that video. I understand, John, he's put all of that together today to get it in time for us this evening, and that was really interesting. You've got some great members there, some great innovators and businesses. Well done. So I understand next you're introducing a couple of your members who have specific issues relating to our subject area tonight, which will be presented to us by VAT IT. So if you'd like to call on them to start up their cameras and take us through that part of the meeting, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart. We're going to start with Richard Large. Richard will just discuss the issues around the business called Eco Fire and Barbecue and Brexit, how it impacts them.
Good evening, guys. I hope everyone can hear me. Yeah, it's a rather exciting venture that we've gone into, and one isn't planned for all these issues that have come up. The main issue that we're facing now with getting into the UK market is the Brexit. Brexit was coming and going and stopping and changing, and people are generally looking at the situation and making their mind up as they go. It doesn't seem to be a set policy or a procedure dealing with the EU dealing with the UK, and as a result, at the moment, we would be incurring additional expenses getting into our product into the UK, and the hassle that goes with it, the paperwork, etc., etc. So the obvious line is not to import directly to Ireland and then export across to the UK, but go down the line of getting staffing ourselves in the UK and working directly South Africa to the UK. That should cut out some of the red tape that we've got at the moment. It's all businesses dealing with the UK are facing horrendous problems and delays, which ultimately we can't afford to have. Luckily, our product doesn't deteriorate in time, so that's something for us. But we can't incur extra charges that are being levied if we shift stuff from the UK to Ireland. So that's something we have to think about. We're open to suggestions and any thoughts that anyone else has. Thank you very much.
I'm going to share a video that Lawrence sent us, and that will cover his side of things.
Firstly, I'd like to apologize for not being able to attend this evening. I'd love to have been there, but I'm very, very grateful to being given the opportunity to make this recording. Unihaven is an international education company that has positioned itself as a pathway provider working in tandem with its university partners and employees to help provide educational pathways, helping international students to gain access to Irish and other international universities who otherwise could not without doing our programs. Given the significant English language learning component of our programs, post-Brexit Ireland means we're the last remaining English-speaking country in the EU. So it's a brilliant place to come and learn our programs. It's a brilliant place to go to university and to gain an international qualification to get access to the world. That's simply put. However, if you deep dive the situation, we quickly see that the world is changing at such a rapid pace. And for many of us, it's hard to keep up. Search the internet, and there's a wide variety of research articles noting the global shift to a future of work being defined as an ever-expanding quest for new technologies, commonly referred to as the fourth industrial revolution, that is potentially leading to the looming possibility of mass job displacements and unattainable skill shortages. Throw the coronavirus pandemic in the mix, and there are now millions of people having to experience changes that have profoundly transformed their lives within and beyond work, changes to their well-being and their productivity. Not convinced? Consider this. Of the world's 15 largest economies, responsible for 70% of the world's GDP, 12 are projected to face labor shortages by 2030, many of those being European-based. As emerging technology replaces low-skilled workers, the need for highly skilled ones will increase dramatically. Quite simply put, high-skilled people talent will be the biggest thing for the next decade. However, they're a scarce resource, and businesses and educationists have to work together and hard to understand them. Brexit, simply put, gives Ireland the perfect opportunity to clearly define itself as a country that offers one of the best education systems in the world and is a gateway to Europe, which is very, very attractive for what we would refer to as global citizens or young up-and-coming generations looking to expand their horizons and for opportunities abroad. Thank you.
Thank you for that, John. That's wonderful. So we come to the stage now where we introduce our guests from VAT IT. There are 3 of them. We have Marc, who's a South African. We have Gabrielle, who's British, and we have Andy, who's the local representative in Ireland. Just to give some context, it is a South African founded company, so that is the connection. And so I will leave it to you guys to tell us more about you and what you do, and if there was something you could pick up in those videos of the case studies to say where you would be able to help or give advice to those in those circumstances, that would be wonderful. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Stuart. Good evening to everyone. I'm just going to share my screen and let's get going. I think just picking up while I do that is we've definitely got some answers to some of the queries. It's been very enjoyable watching some of those videos. So I'm going to assume everyone can share my screen. My name is Marc Sevitz. I'll do some further introductions, but thanks again to the South African Chamber of Commerce for hosting us this evening, for allowing us to speak and to be introduced to some of the businesses tonight. So Brexit and the impact on Ireland and the UK, and then the Emerald Isle launch. It's very exciting for the Chamber of Commerce, and we're very proud to be here speaking and talking about a subject which for businesses may be boring, but that is something which we all have to deal with on an everyday basis. So just very briefly, as I said, my name is Marc Sevitz. I'm the Managing Director for VAT IT Reclaim UK and Ireland branch, as well as working on our solution Retrade. My colleague Gabrielle Magnani will be speaking tonight as well about import VAT, and she's an international trade consultant, so she'll really dig into some of those issues around the supply chain. And then our other colleague, Andy Power, who's our head of business development for the EMEA region, so really knows his stuff around VAT, around some of the changes, and as to why VAT Reclaim and VAT is so important in our world and of course in your world as well for businesses. So on the agenda this evening, we're going to take about 15 minutes just to talk about some issues, some of the high-level topics. And then, of course, we'll be answering some questions, and hopefully through the talk tonight, we'll address some of the issues that have been raised in some of the videos. I know we've got an example actually dealing with some of the issues. So we'll look at what is VAT Reclaim, so that business travel between UK and Ireland, the whole of Ireland. So obviously there's the Republic of Ireland and the Northern Ireland issue to deal with as a result of Brexit, the important changes as a result of Brexit. So how does that impact businesses? And then very, very briefly on the cash flow impact of Brexit. So what does VAT do to the cash flow for businesses and how those changes have happened? Then we'll talk about the post-Brexit trading landscape, reciprocity, what does that mean? Trading updates as well. And then just finally, just around our single solution at VAT IT as to how we can assist businesses dealing with either the VAT Reclaim landscape or of course in the supply chain issues. And then questions, probably the most exciting part of the evening. We are of course strategic partners of the South African Chamber of Commerce, and we do work with the Department of International Trade and other chambers of commerce and bilateral chambers both here in the UK and globally as well. Our global presence is everywhere. We've got 38 offices worldwide. We did start in South Africa some 21 years ago, and for us, we're very proud to be speaking at the South African Chamber of Commerce chapter launch, Emerald Isle chapter launch. Of course, you hear my accent as a South African, so I'm very happy to hear some further South Africans. But we are headquartered here in London. Andy sits in Ireland, and then Gabrielle is British herself, so it's one of each of us, as you can see on the slide here, a South African, a British person, and an Irish person as well, all chatting to you tonight. So I'll hand it over to Andy of the next part to talk about VAT Reclaim.
So I'll just say again, Mark, I don't think that the slides weren't showing. I can continue chatting just about the reclaim piece, but I think if we can try and get it up on the screen, it might be. There we go.
My apologies for that.
No worries. Technical difficulties. Yeah, just to sort of briefly touch on, I suppose, VAT Reclaim and the benefits therein. Everybody has had to deal with VAT at some stage in their career. If you're a business trading cross-border, obviously you're going to get into the complexities of how it works, from import-export side of things. And what we do essentially is use a kind of a combination of human ingenuity and artificial intelligence and technology to look at individual invoices, be it travel and expenses, where you have people traveling from Ireland to the UK, vice versa, South Africa to the UK, and we can recover expenses or VAT on expenses for the likes of hotels, car rentals, staff entertainment. Now, these things are governed by the laws of individual tax authorities. Everybody has different laws of reciprocity in place. And we mentioned the dreaded B word, we mentioned Brexit earlier. So people may ask, is it still possible if you're a European country or South Africa to claim from the UK? And as somebody else mentioned, it's a bit of a fluid situation, because Richard said, do we know what's happening? It seems to change on a regular basis. The answer is yes, that's true, but that we are, and countries are making progress to the right, in the right direction. So the likes of Germany, Croatia, other countries have put laws in place with the United Kingdom to facilitate this cross-border VAT recovery. And on the screen here, you can see a few kind of quick facts about what's possible from a VAT reclaim perspective. And a lot of companies just see this as a sunken cost, or they just accept it as, the cost of doing business. But the reality is that in a lot of cases, there may be something we can do to help you get that cash back into your business. Not only from the point of view of seeing it on your bottom line, but also it can impact how you might cost projects, how you might understand what your kind of annual budget looks like, and if you've been doing business for a while, in certain circumstances we can go back retrospectively and secure a nice bit of additional revenue for the business in that way. Somebody asked how many years can you recover VAT? It depends on the country, right? In the UK, you go back 4 years. In the Netherlands, 5 years. In Denmark, 3. Governed by the laws of the land, and it also depends on exactly what the nature of that VAT or expense was. So we would look at these on a case-by-case basis, and I talked about the technology we have. So it's not just some poor individual in a room checking the invoice. We have built a platform that we can feed these invoices into from the likes of ERP accounting systems and expense management tools, and it automates that process. So we can do, it's very scalable. We can take large volumes of invoices and pour them into that and make determinations on what can be claimed and what can't be claimed. We give you that report back and manage that process end to end. This screen just touches on, some of the things that we can look at. Like I mentioned, T&E, your hotels, car rentals, etc. And then if you're looking at larger accounts payable invoices, there are a lot of circumstances and a lot of industries that we can work with where there is recoverable VAT on these accounts payable fees. So you can be conferences and events if you're showing up, marketing costs if you are shipping goods and samples cross-border, packaging material, sponsorship. The list is endless and the nuances are many. So it is important to kind of take, the reason we exist is that the nuances are many, and there is a need for a business like us to be able to look at these things in detail and understand where the opportunity for VAT reclaim lies and what we can, put to one side and say, okay, there's no opportunity here. So I did briefly kind of talk about this a minute ago. Is there a mechanism to work with the UK now? There are several directives that allow for this, reclaim to take place. It does vary country to country, but broadly speaking, you have intra-EU. Most countries in the EU have VAT, and most other countries will allow reclaims from there. It's a very simple digital invoices. We just need a couple of small pieces of documentation and we can submit that on your behalf. If you look at post-Brexit, so I talked about what's happening there. Some countries have agreed, reciprocity with the UK. Some have not. Our sense is that, broadly speaking, over time, most countries are going to fall in line, because the point of VAT recovery is to encourage cross-border activity, to encourage people to travel, it's to encourage people to spend money, it's to encourage people to do business. And so it's to the good for everyone to try and keep this going. But there will be mechanisms there for us to reclaim from the UK and vice versa as time goes on. And we have an entire team of legal advisors and accountants whose their sole purpose in life is to understand what is happening as it happens. We have good relationships with almost every tax authority in the world, and so we constantly talk to them and understand what's going on in the landscape so that we can update our processes and ensure that we're maximizing value for customers and understanding the requirements at every time. Impact on cash flow. Look, again, here's just a couple of examples of places we can look to recover costs. So, your poor finance team, this is stuff that they might not understand. They might not speak the language of the country they're trying to recover from. They can get in touch with Unihaven, maybe get a course on foreign language, keep themselves in check. But there are a number of complexities. There are a number of avenues that we can explore. And again, it really is on a case-by-case basis. And part of what we do, that human ingenuity, is sitting down and understanding how you operate, where you operate, what the nature of your business is, how you're structured, and where we might be able to assist you. So we really do try and give that kind of that individual consultative approach to make sure that we're tailoring our service to you. And that's all backed up by that lovely technology platform that when the boxes are all ticked and we understand what's happening, it's something you can just sit back and let happen. Flick of a switch, we'll manage it on your behalf. The post-Brexit trading landscape, I feel I will abandon ship and hand over to Gab as a subject matter expert. I think there's a few questions came in, but I'm sure we can just chat through those at the end of the presentation and anything else that crops up as well.
Hello, everyone. I was going to say I can take over from here, Andy. Hopefully I can give some more insight into the post-Brexit trading landscape and what that means for a lot of businesses that we've worked with, what that's going to mean to, I'm sure, a lot of the people on this call. So we'll pop on to the next slide. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start by, I don't know whether we went into what reciprocity actually means. I know that we're probably throwing a load of buzzwords out there, and I just want to, make sure you've got all the tools to understand what each of these words are. So reciprocity is essentially just an agreement between two countries, allowing them to recover VAT from each other. In some cases, it might be that there's, a one way, and in other, it might be, dual way. So for example, before Brexit, the UK offered reciprocity with every country. So every business in the entire world that incurred VAT in the UK, we said, you know what, go ahead, recover that VAT. Obviously now we're having to determine exactly what the landscape looks like with Brexit, with the UK having left the EU. There is different challenges, and we are trying to uncover whether or not there's reciprocity with these different countries. But the best thing about reciprocity at the moment is the UK and Ireland do have reciprocity with South Africa, which means that you are able to reclaim the VAT that you incur in both of these places. And that means, as Andy suggested, travel and entertainment costs are recoverable. Import VAT is recoverable. So, when you're transporting goods into either of these destinations, you are eligible to recover that as well. So I'm going to speak to you a little bit about the kind of department that I work in within the VAT IT group. We were quite well placed to assist a lot of our clients with understanding exactly what Brexit meant to their company, especially because they were transporting goods from the UK into the EU. And a lot of that came from the fact that we've had 20 years of experience dealing with US clients transporting goods, dealing with South African companies, exporting goods into both of these destinations. Unfortunately, unlike the UK as well, they weren't able to kind of benefit from the simplifications that the EU had to offer. So a lot of the companies in the UK had to start developing and understanding and trying to determine exactly how they could get goods in to the EU in a similar fashion, I guess, to you guys in the beginning. A lot of you will have had to, overcome these challenges. So what we've done is we've created a product that kind of marries the three key elements of shipping and transporting goods. Those being, customs clearance, actually understanding how to clear customs in certain areas, moving the actual goods, so engaging with your shipping providers, whether it's, FedEx, whether it's inaugural, whether it's DHL. Those are obviously just a few of the big players, but understanding exactly what they are doing, how they're doing it, how that fits with customs, and then obviously piecing together the final piece, which is the VAT. So just to give you a brief overview, I'm sure a lot of you will have kind of benefited from the rules of the UK or being part of the EU and vice versa, being able to transport your goods from the UK into the EU, EU into the UK. Essentially, before Brexit, there were no borders, really. A lot of the shipments and deliveries were seen as something called intra-community transfers or intra-community supplies, intra-community acquisitions. Those are all, great buzzword there. And essentially what happened was there were just simplification mechanisms in place. The EU decided to take a kind of blanket rule whereby they suggested that it's just not necessary for every business to get a registration in every single country. Therefore, what we're going to do is simplify it by pushing the obligation onto the buyer to account for the VAT in that specific country. And this just meant that there was no import VATs, duties weren't applicable, there was no process of the goods being held at a specific point and audited and checked. It was super simple. It was like domestic, sales. Kind of fast forward to today. Unfortunately, the UK is no longer part of that simplification kind of engine, and it now has to deal with the countries in an individual fashion. So it has to look at each country and determine whether or not it can trade in, a simplistic fashion. Are there simplification measures in place? Do I need to become VAT registered in a certain place? And we need to start looking and identifying the supply chain to determine whether or not a sale is being made in a specific place. And what that means now is, as I said before, you're unfortunately faced with your goods being held at a specific point. They are going to have to clear customs, as it were. And that means they're going to have to be audited. There's HS code reviews. Are what is the import VAT charge? Are they dutiable? Do I have to pay all of these? Can I defer these? So, there's also documents to be completed. And now it's become quite a laborious process for a lot of businesses that we work with, which is why we've kind of created a product and we're there to help support them through this process. So I've just kind of high level, I'm sure I know I've said a lot of buzzwords here, but we put together a few considerations that we think that business should start thinking about, whether they're moving goods into the UK, into the EU, into Ireland from South Africa into the UK, and there is different decisions that now have to be made. Does the business have to consider VAT registering in certain countries? The reason that we're asking this question is because it's dependent on where the place of supply happens. Are you seen to be bringing goods into a specific country? And therefore, is that making you be, is that creating an obligation for a registration? Beforehand, I don't know if a lot of you were aware of EORI numbers. That was kind of a passport to allow you to move goods into a certain country. And you could benefit from one EU EORI number for the entire EU, which would have been applicable for GB, so the UK, would have been applicable for Ireland. But unfortunately now, the UK has left the EU. We now have to start considering getting a different EORI number for the UK and a different EORI number for Ireland. As I've mentioned a lot, there are significant customs clearance pitfalls. And a lot of what we do is work with our clients to understand what the freight companies are actually doing for our clients. How are they clearing customs? What Incoterms are they using? Are they acting on behalf of our client in a certain manner at customs? And a lot of this will seem quite confusing, but it's all necessary to understand when you're shipping, into the EU, into the UK. You really have to understand and dig into the detail of what's going on, because it's really going to drive the compliance decisions that your company has to make when trading with both these places.
Thanks, Gabrielle. That's and Mark and Andy. That's really interesting. We've got a few questions come up in the chat, and we've got just over 5 minutes left. If we can have a look at a couple of those. I'd like to say I'm really enlightened now and understand that. If I'm honest, I don't. Seems incredibly complicated. One of the first questions we had was, how are your services costed? Is it done on a percentage, or is it a flat fee? If you could perhaps address that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yes, so we cost on a percentage of what we successfully recover. So, you know, if for some very strange reason we never recovered anything on your behalf, you would never pay us anything, which also motivates us quite a lot to do a good job and to get as much value as possible. That contingent fee is a sliding scale based on what we're dealing with. If you're looking at things like travel and entertainment, you're looking at kind of high volume, lower value, where the percentage might be a little bit higher because it's more onerous to manage. For larger accounts payable invoices, the fee can be obviously significantly lower in order to make it economically viable for the customer.
Thank you, that's great. And on a practical level, how does the service work? So if I'm a client, do I need to email you lots and lots of documents, or is there a portal where I can upload them, or how easy is it on a practical level to actually access the services you offer?
So I'll jump in there. From an ease of use point of view, it's quite simple. So depending on what the expense is, that T&E that Andy mentioned, we would find out if you use an expense management system, so some tool, a tool in order to record expenses, and we would plug straight into those in most cases. Otherwise, we do have clients where we actually send manual auditors out, well, we used to before COVID. So we would work with you to understand what your process is, where we can do it fully electronically, or of course, send someone or just via email. We've had that as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. And if someone's importing through, say, Ireland and then into the UK, is that better than importing directly into the UK, or are you putting yourself in a position where you can pay double that and have to reclaim in both places?
I'll jump in on this one. I think now both of them have to be considered as two completely different countries. So it is essentially like importing into one country and then onto the other. Obviously, dependent on where the goods are manufactured will actually determine the duty rate. But if you're importing into Ireland and it's manufactured in South Africa, for example, and then into the UK, you're going to hit yourself with double VAT and double duties charges. So that is something to be quite conscious of. Obviously, importing into Ireland, you then get access to the EU. But then, you know, you do have to consider the access to the UK now. Right.
So case by case, you might be better importing directly to the UK and then directly to Ireland in a separate way. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Is there a turnover threshold? I mean, for example, for a small business, you know, if you were operating within the UK, there's a threshold over which you need to register for that. Does that apply to foreign companies as well? Or if you're just doing small amounts of business in the UK, can you still use these services and reclaim the VAT?
So I think thresholds are really dependent on, you know, the type of good, the transaction, the actual business makeup as well. So I think that potentially might be some, I mean, you know, high level, I think there are some thresholds in place for the UK. Again, EU is on a case by case. And that depends on, again, the makeup of the business, where they're located, and what they're actually selling, whether it's B2B, B2C. So again, it's kind of a bit of a case by case, but usually there are some forms of small thresholds in place. Okay, thank you. Slightly different question. The origins of this whole idea from the British government. I mean, I'll be honest, when I first heard about this after Brexit, and you know, people were having orders cancelled, they'd ordered a coat from Germany and then suddenly they were going to have to pay extra on it and all of that, I thought this can't be true. And then of course, when you look into it, you see it is true. And is this something that's really about a level playing field for foreign versus domestic businesses in the UK? Is it about raising revenue, or
in your opinion, obviously you can't give a definitive answer, and if you don't want to answer that, so that's also fine. Or is it a form of administrative protectionism, whereby we can't actually stop other countries coming in using unfair tariffs or trade rules, so we'll put this whole barrier of having to jump over all these administrative hurdles as an obstacle to people trading into the UK? Anyone with an opinion on that as the last question?
As a South African, Andy, I know you want to jump in as well, but as a South African, maybe I'm more neutral to this. I think it's a combination of all of those, and it depends. I know this is being recorded, so but I think it depends on who the demographic is. There are obviously economically minded people who look at it from a protection perspective, increasing the domestic market. However, there's a bigger market in the EU who is closer. So can you find those markets? I think the Australian trade deals is an exact example as to why that's not necessarily the correct answer. There are other issues just around migration, sovereignty, all of those. I think it's a big combination. Whether businesses will make more money in the long run and bring in more money from a tax perspective and back perspective to the fiscus, not too sure, because the market is smaller. These regulations and these problems are going to cause delays for a number of years. And the trade between the UK and Ireland specifically is down about 50 to 65% over the last few months. So is that better in the short run? I think Prime Minister Johnson has said we're going to unleash a variety of things in the last couple of days. We'll probably only see that in the next 5 to 10 years. So I think it's a combination. That's the neutral diplomatic answer.
I was going to say, if you ever leave RegTech and VAT IT, then maybe the diplomatic service
I've been told that
will welcome you. That was but an informed answer at the same time, so I appreciate that very much. Okay, to wrap things up, if you could end your screen share for us there, Mark. Thank you.
Trying to do that.
I'm going to introduce June, who is based in the Isle of Man. And is the coordinator for the Isle of Man chapter. So she's been through the experience of setting up a chapter, and she's going to have a few closing words from us, just from me, just to finish off. Thank you to all the speakers. It's been absolutely fascinating. Thank you to John in particular, and good luck with getting things going. I think this has been a great first event, so congratulations to everyone who's contributed to it from your side. Really, really wonderful. Okay, goodbye from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stuart. And I'd like to say thank you to the VAT IT contingent. Fascinating topic, completely over my head, I'm afraid, but so informative. So thank you very much indeed. And it's just so nice to have a business focus when we have these events. I think it's really nice to have something that we can all walk away with and feel, well, I'm a little bit better informed than I was when I started. So thank you very much indeed. To John, congratulations. This is a really exciting event. And from a personal level, I just want to say that it was in 2019, November 2019, I met Patrick Greenaway on the Isle of Man. And it just so happens that Patrick and my son-in-law used to work together at Coca-Cola. And Gus and his family had recently relocated to the island, and Patrick came over. And he came over to an event that had been arranged by the Isle of Man government, particularly to trade with Ireland. So I do hope that there is in place already a good relationship and a good conduit for trade. I do hope that this will be the first of many opportunities to network together. I think just to let you know that the recording of tonight will be available and that the slides will be available on the website. And it leaves me just to say thanks so much for joining us this evening, and I hope to see you all again soon. Over to you, Stuart.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending. We'll see you next time.